All right, so the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I put Sam Darnold in the thumbnail just for fun because if you've seen my community tab, it was like Sam Darnold got destroyed in the playoffs. That means that the Steelers probably won him. But nah, I don't think Sam Darnold is the answer. I think there's really one answer for the Steelers right now at the quarterback position. I'm not saying it's the greatest option, but Justin Fields, I think he can do really good things. Like, I'm a Justin Fields fan. Again, not saying that he's Mr. Take the Steelers to the Super Bowl, but I think he's the clear number one right now. And it really doesn't matter if you have zero weapons around him. Like, you need more than just George Pickens because from what we've seen, George Pickens will just wake up one day and be like, is it really even worth it to play on this team? And just not even run his routes half the time. So go get Emeka Buka or Luther Burden in the first round, and even maybe in the third round, double down on wide receiver, at least fourth round, right? But like, you spent all that money on the defense and then it crumbles apart every year. So I'd love to say, go out and get more defensive pieces, but realistically, the Steelers need to focus on their coaching because it's not like they don't have talent. I mean, they've spent way too much money in draft capital to be like, yeah, I don't think this defense has the talent. We just need to load up again because you can do that a million times over again. I mean, the Steelers have the highest paid defense already, but if that scheme ain't working, if that locker room is lost by December, which it is every year now and we all know it, then none of it matters because look at somebody like Joey Porter Jr., right? Didn't really have his best year compared to his rookie year where he's shutting everybody down. And then this year, all right, it kind of went downhill at the Commanders game. And then he has a really good game versus the Ravens, but it was kind of up and down. And I think he got a little too much heat because let's just say the Eagles game, right? A.J. Brown, he had good coverage on A.J. Brown if you actually look at it. And then he gets blasted for that. They catch at the end, the slant versus A.J. Brown. Like, what do you want him to do? A.J. Brown pushed off and he has no inside help. So that's not only on Terrell Austin, but kind of on the refs. Anyway, not the point. There's other guys like Keanu Benton. Keanu Benton can be a very damn good nose tackle, but you need the coaching to develop these guys. So yeah, I mean, at this point, offense wins games for the Steelers, and Justin Fields, we've seen what he can do, and some of it's not that great at times. He can have his brain farts, but when you get the best Justin Fields, oh my goodness, he was carrying the Steelers versus the Colts, and you need to surround him with weapons because I love Calvin Austin. Like, I think Calvin Austin is a very gritty player. He plays tough, even though he's a small little fella, but you're gonna need a lot more than that. In my opinion, he's a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. I was really hoping he would be more than that. You're just gonna need to load up, draft offense, go get T. Higgins if you can, give him the bag. But that's going to be kind of a tough ask because does T. Higgins want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler? There's going to be tons of teams going after him, and he probably has better options. But anything you can get, go out there and get it. Just load up on offense because that old Steelers way isn't working. And even with TJ Watt now, it kind of sucks to see because he wasn't really doing much at the end there. And I do blame the scheme. Because while he is getting older, you should be able to do more creative things if dudes are chipping him. And all right, it's getting a little harder for him to get to the quarterback. So when teams are adjusting like that and the Steelers really aren't adjusting back too much, and you can't really rely on TJ Watt to win you the game anymore, and the offense is doing what it's doing, well, you're going to lose 5 straight games to 5 good teams. One of those teams, the Bengals, isn't even that great. You should be beating them, and especially when you actually have that many chances on offense, but you choke again. So don't want to see Russell Wilson come back, that's for sure. I think Pat Freiermuth didn't play well at times, but, he had really high of highs and then he had really low of lows, so hopefully he can just get his confidence back up. And then who else? Like, Mike Williams was a weird one because Mike Williams made one really good play that won the Steelers the Commanders game, and then we just straight up didn't see him too much. All right, he had some contested catches here and there. He had a 30-40 yarder versus the Bengals, but underutilized in my opinion. So it was a weird dynamic between Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson because they kicked it off and then they just kind of died down, and then the Bengals game happened and it's like, oh, everything's back to normal again, and then things went to the gutter forever. So yeah, don't want to see that happen, but I think Arthur Smith and Justin Fields will have a much better connection. Again, not saying it's anything too crazy from what we saw, but it was consistent. It was what Russell was supposed to be, but it just ended up being what Justin Fields was. Because if you look at it, even the bad games for Justin Fields, which I wouldn't say games because the Raiders, all right, he missed a couple of throws back to back at one point, and sometimes it wasn't pretty, but he did what he needed to do and he converted in the red zone, that's for sure. The Cowboys game was probably the one you look at and be like, all right, well, that wasn't pretty. But again, even at the end there, you go down in a game-winning drive, or what was supposed to be in a game-winning drive, you get a touchdown to Freiermuth. All right, smooth, easy as. Your defense just doesn't give up a touchdown and let the Dallas Cowboys drive 70 yards on you with really not too many weapons. But of course, in the Steelers fashion, they choke and allow that to happen because for some reason Terrell Austin is just super predictable, and Dak Prescott can even see that. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty embarrassing for the Steelers, but you can't really say the two losses were on Justin Fields, can you? So while I'm not really optimistic about Arthur Smith coming back, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world because Justin Fields is comfortable with them in a way. I would like to see them get more aggressive, but it's easy for us fans to say, all right, in that 6-game stretch, they should have been, throwing the ball a lot more with Justin Fields downfield. But with the weapons that the Steelers have, it's like, do we really know, or are we really confident that would have went well? Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how many weapons they get. They're going to need a new running back. Jaylen Warren is great. I believe he can be number one running back. I believe he is the number one running back. But, man, this class is loaded. And with Najee not coming back, that's a hole that you're going to need to replace. Jaylen Warren can't do it all on his own. Also, shout out to Najee because that man went through the fire and back. I mean, he went through some tough times and held it down. Yeah, he sold the Eagles game, but that shouldn't really define his whole 4 years as a Steeler, should it? He did some really great things for Pittsburgh and was a no-drama type of player, so shout out to him. But I would love to see Travion Henderson as a Pittsburgh Steeler, or Jenkins, one of the Buckeyes running backs, because those guys are damn good. But again, there's all types of good options in this year's draft. You don't even need to pick a guy in the second round. Third or fourth round will do you good. But obviously, a running back's only as good as his line. And with Troy Fautanu getting injured early in the season, and James Daniels too, because people don't realize how good he was. But yeah, Fautanu was a big one because that dude is a big Simone freak, and he was going to develop into something. He's still going to develop into something real nice. But yeah, Broderick Jones just straight up isn't a right tackle. It wasn't a great season for him. He should have been at left tackle, but the circumstances didn't allow him to do that. They really needed him there. There was no other option. It was kind of a mess. But even with him now going to left tackle, I don't think many people are too confident that he's going to be some very, very good left tackle, even though his age, 23 years old, he has tons of time to develop. It just all goes back to, do we trust the Steelers coaches? And I think the clear answer for most people would be no, but it doesn't really matter. Jones is going to be the starting left tackle anyway, and you have to give him that shot. He showed flashes, like he's super athletic. He can get out there in space. He has the natural raw strength. Again, the Steelers knew that Broderick Jones was very raw coming out of Georgia, so you have to give him time. And the fact that, again, he's never even started at left tackle, which is his natural position coming out of Georgia, it's pretty ridiculous. So he's been mishandled so far. You got Fautanu coming back in. The Steelers definitely aren't going to spend a first or second round pick on a tackle when that's the case. I would much more expect the Steelers' first 3 rounds to look like wide receiver, CB, and D-line, whichever order that goes in. But you never know, because when free agency hits and when free agency is over, that's when you really know what the Steelers are targeting in the draft. Because let's just say, all right, they go D-line in free agency, they get a big time guy, but that corner spot is still an unknown. All right, well, then you know the first 2 rounds is definitely going to be CB. I trust Omar Kondo, and maybe we see some trades. It should be a little bit of a shakeup this year, so it'll be very fun to watch. But if there's anybody in the Steelers organization that I do trust, it's Khan. For everybody else, not so much. But again, I think Khan can do a great job building a roster. It's just the coach is actually managing that roster and doing the most with it is a whole nother thing for Pittsburgh. So again, the main focus should really be getting Justin Fields a bunch of weapons and obviously developing Broderick Jones and really just that whole young offensive line, right? Because if they can become a very good unit, then the Steelers' future looks pretty bright because you'll be able to run the football. Justin Fields has great scrambling ability, but if he has time in the pocket, all right, you're giving him the best shot while bringing in more weapons. You can seriously talk about improving your offense. Justin Fields is the best shot that you have. And again, I'm not saying that even if you do give him the great O-line and the weapons that it's going to be extraordinary or anything like that, but it should be better than a 5-game losing streak to end your season. So yeah, I'm not trying to convince anybody that if the Steelers do all this for Justin Fields, he can be the one to take him to the promised land, because I still have my doubts about Fields, but most importantly, the whole team. Again, can't say coaching staff enough. And we've seen the same pattern throughout how many years now? So human beings have pattern recognition. I can't really say that this is going to be a Super Bowl team next year or even a team that wins a playoff game. But all I know is building around Justin Fields probably gives you the best chance at having a somewhat respectable offense, just because his legs and playmaking ability can keep you in these games like he did versus the Colts. And that's something that you can at least fall back on. With Russ, it's like, all right, what are we even doing here? But let me know what you guys think about the Steelers' future. Which quarterback should they go with moving forward? What moves should they make? Let me know in the comment section below. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video though, and that is it for me on this one. Peace.